All right, good evening, everyone, and we're picking back up with our regular session of the Mayor and Council for the Town of Berlin. It's Monday, August 24th, 2026. If you saw the previous recording, that was for the Public Service Commission hearing that was held prior to this meeting. Just as an FYI, anyone that maybe wasn't able to attend, the ability to still comment on case number 9879 is still available, and there will be information published to the Town of Berlin's website about how to be able to do that. All right, with that, we're going to begin with a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. First item on our agenda is the consent agenda, which is the approval of our minutes from the regular session of August 10th, 2026.
Mayor, Andrew, I just have a minor correction on page 13 of the packet of the minutes. The fourth paragraph down, and about halfway through, it states, Councilmember Orris reported conducting independent research and finding that 3H was commonly viewed as a value community, and so forth and so on. That was actually Councilmember Green who did that research.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, so do we get a motion with the correction?
Oh, yeah, I'll make a motion with another correction.
Second. So I have a motion by Councilmember Orris with the correction on page 13, and a second by Councilmember Nur. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, let the record reflect the minutes from the regular session of August 10th, 2026 pass as amended with Vice President Burrell absent. It is Vice President Burrell's 41st wedding anniversary, so he said they wouldn't be here this evening. So congratulations to him and Val. All right, up next, agenda item 2, Proclamation 2026-10, National Preparedness Month. And we have a proclamation of the Mayor and Council of the Town of Berlin for National Preparedness Month. Whereas emergencies and natural disasters, can occur without warning, testing the preparedness and resilience of our families, neighborhoods, community, and local infrastructure. And whereas the Federal Emergency Management Agency's FEMA Ready campaign has designated Americans Stand Ready as the theme of 2026 National Preparedness Month, emphasizing the importance of being ready before an emergency occurs. And whereas since 2004, National Preparedness Month has encouraged Americans to take proactive steps to prepare themselves, their families, their homes, and their communities for emergencies and disasters. And whereas individual and household preparedness, including developing a family emergency and communication plan, assembling a disaster supply kit, understanding local risks, and signing up for the emergency alerts can help protect lives, reduce property loss, and strengthen our community's ability to respond to and recover from emergencies. Whereas the Town of Berlin recognizes and honors our first responders, emergency management professionals, public safety personnel, and volunteers whose dedication, preparation, and service help safeguard our community before, during, and after emergencies. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Mayor Zach Tyndall, and the Council of Berlin do hereby proclaim September 26th as National Preparedness Month in the Town of Berlin and encourage all residents, businesses, and community organizations to take meaningful steps toward preparedness, remain informed of potential hazards, and work together to strengthen the resiliency, safety, and readiness of our community. Thank you. With that, I will say that the ability to sign up for the emergency preparedness or the emergency communications, you can go to the town website, click the code red icon, and you can sign up for those emergency alerts. The same thing, Kate and Mary, does that automatically register you for Worcester counties, or do you have to do Worcester counties as well?
No. In addition to.
So Berlin and Worcester, so you should do both, really. With that being said, you'll notice that the first Saturday, I believe it is, of every month, the Worcester County Emergency Services tests the siren as well. So that's the long blast of the siren. That is your civil alert awareness. So With that being said, we'll move on to agenda item 3, and that's a public hearing on ordinance 2026-06, amending chapter 16, entitled Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 2, entitled Outdoor Burning. Our town attorney, David Gaskell, and our acting planning director, Ryan Hardesty, are going to run point. Our first reading on this was Monday, August 10th, 2026, and the two of you can take it away.
Brian, I'll start. Okay.
I did just pass out the version that you sent later this afternoon. So what is coming to you now is slightly different than what was in the packet, and Dave will explain it.
Let me explain this. I already, can you look at this?
There are copies available for the public. You can have mine.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have some extras when you get
Okay,
to
perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
So,
What I did after our last meeting, when we had first reading of this, I amended, the proposed ordinance with every amendment that at that point, it was pointed out to me that it appeared that the group wanted to outlaw open burning. So I then removed the section on permit fees, and I left it at that. Brief discussion with Ryan this morning, she was of the opinion that I should remove section 16-21, which is permit required, because why would we want to have someone get a permit for open burning if we're not allowing open burning? Subsequently, after I thought about this, and I talked to Ryan this evening, I think we ought to table this and start all over.
why?
Well, there are still sections in this. If you look at 1619, purpose and intent, the purpose of this article is to protect the public health, safety, and welfare by regulating open burning. We're not regulating it, we're outlawing.
Well, but wouldn't open burning also be a fire pit, or is that a contained burn? I would think that it's open.
That's a recreation.
Okay,
It
but
does further under recreation. Yeah.
We also have the definition for open burning still in this.
Right.
I think you need to address open burning.
I think we should need to address it, and if you want to outlaw it, then let me amend this to say open burning is not permitted within the town limits of Berlin.
Can we do that this evening, or will it take more?
Well, you have that.
Right.
Is that 23? 23.
Health safety regulating open burning.
Well, we still have 1622, which is permit exceptions. We don't have any, we're not issuing permits.
Can we take it from page? We don't have a whole lot on our agenda. Let's take it on page 1 together. So the purpose of this article is to protect the public health, safety, and welfare by regulating open burning. It should also say regulating open burning and recreational burning. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Within the town of Berlin. Improper open burning can create, that could just say improper burning instead of open burning. You would strike the word open. Can create fire hazards, air pollution, and public nuisances. This article is intended to ensure compliance with applicable state laws and regulations, including COMAR 261107. Nothing within this ordinance shall authorize open burning that is prohibited by Worcester County Code of Public Laws, COMAR, Maryland Forest Service regulations, the Maryland State Fire Protection Code, or any other county or state burn ban. So with that, you would just get rid of open. You would just keep burning. Is that correct for paragraph 1?
Well, the change again is the purpose of this article is to protect the public health, safety, and welfare by regulating open burning and recreational burning.
Okay.
Within town of Berlin. The amendment?
That's what I think it should say.
Okay.
Do you agree?
And
How does the council feel?
then the next sentence is improper burning can create, we take over.
Yep.
Are you guys good with that?
Are there any objections from the governing body? Okay, you keep moving. This article is intended to ensure compliance with applicable state laws and regulations, including,
Let's go back to the first 15 minutes. Do we need to make any changes to the last sentence? Nothing within this ordinance shall authorize open burning that is prohibited by the Worcester County Code of Public Laws, Code of R7. Do we need to change any of that?
hold on, where are you? Yeah.
So the last sentence in 1619, the first paragraph, that we just went first.
Yes, something does need to be altered there because it says nothing within this ordinance shall authorize open burning. It should just say burning. That is prohibited by Worcester County Code, and then it goes on further.
That's here.
Can you just give us a second to work through this, and then we'll take all questions at the end? Go ahead. It's not open.
No.
Okay.
So we're going to go to definition.
Yep, let's go to definitions. Page 2 of the amended. Okay. Definitions. The following words, terms, and phrases, when used in this chapter, shall have meanings ascribed to them in this section, except where the context clearly indicates a different meaning. Open burning means a fire where any material is burned in the open or in an open receptacle. Right? I think
Well, I
that's
think
okay.
what you were discussing a few minutes ago, right at the very beginning, about open burn versus burning it basically without a cover, that probably does need to be addressed a little bit better.
Okay.
You could argue that a fire pit is an open receptacle.
Okay.
But then
Yeah, that's the thing.
fire means small, but then recreational fire is underneath with a different with a definition as well. So these other.
That's, yeah, I mean.
So
it
that's
needs
one
to
of
be
the
better
points.
clarified.
Okay. So hold on, I'm gonna basically highlight and accent that on my end and we'll come back. Recreational fire means a small controlled fire, either gas or wood burning, used for warmth or recreation, not intended for waste disposal. Everybody good with that? Okay. Cooking fire means a fire used solely for food preparation in grills, smokers, or similar appliances. I think we're good with that, right? Yard waste means leaves, grass clippings, weeds, and similar vegetative materials. Pretty straightforward there, right? Yard debris means brush, limbs, branches, shrubs, and tree trimmings resulting from routine landscape maintenance. I don't know, why does it need to say routine landscape maintenance? Or resulting from? Wouldn't it just be, I think that's really not needed. Yard debris means brush, limbs, branches, shrubs, and tree trimmings.
Well, they
Striking.
land clearing debris underneath. So double check that to make sure that you.
I think routine landscape speaks to the difference between what's then defined.
Okay,
Yes.
then let's keep it.
Defined
That's what I.
pruning a shrub, that's routine.
Okay. So
Whereas-
then land clearing debris means trees, stumps, brush, and other natural vegetative material generated from the clearing of land for development or agricultural purposes. But there are other reasons people would clear land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
what
development,
happens if they just wanted more open space?
I mean, I think you could argue that that might fall under development. That might be getting into the weeds.
Why can't we just say, why can't we say yard debris means brush, limbs, branches, shrubs, and tree trimming? Land clearing debris means trees, stumps, brush, and other natural vegetative material, and get rid of generated. Doesn't matter how it was acquired. So strike generated from the clearing of land for development or agricultural purposes. And for yard debris above that, let's strike resulting from routine landscape maintenance. I don't think that's necessary. Would the group agree? Okay. All right, let's move on now.
I have a question.
Okay?
What did we do with open burning stuff?
We've highlighted that. We're coming back to it. Page 3. Section 1621, permit exception. Recreational fires, as well as outdoor cooking fires using grills, smokers, barbecue pits, or similar devices solely for food preparation are exempt from permitting requirements. I think that's straightforward. Everybody agree? Let's see. Section.
But let me say,
Go ahead.
because you're having permit exceptions, but there is no permit.
So we have to say that not required.
Can we, once we get to the end, can we come back, or we're going to hit permits in a second. All right. Section 1622, I'm going to highlight permit. So then we figure that, and permit requirement. Come back to it. Okay. 1622, requirements for recreational burning. Must be a minimum of 15 feet away from any building, structure, or flammable material. Straightforward. Must be attended until completely extinguished. Reasonable. Bonfires may be no larger than 3 feet high and 4 feet in diameter. I think that's reasonable. We pulled that from other municipalities. Number 4, bonfires shall only be allowed from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. I think the neighboring municipalities were till midnight, and we tightened it up. I think Councilmember Nichols, you had suggested 10 p.m.
Yeah, can we talk about that one for a minute?
Sure.
So for one, I don't know that we need to have a start time, frankly. I think 6 p.m. one thing in November, it started at 5.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But also, like, what, not to be trite, what do we care if a neighbor wants to have a small bonfire or s'mores for their kids, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? So I'm kind of like, I feel like that may be a little overkill on our part. The 10 p.m., I know that came up at the last meeting. I feel like that's honestly a bit early.
What time do you want, Steve?
I think 11 p.m. Midnight's Ocean City.
11's good.
I think what we're looking at there, it's, let's be honest, it's going to be a reactive type of situation, right? I hope our neighbors text their neighbors to be like, listen, you're being a little rowdy or whatever the case may be. So I'm fine with 11 p.m. On that. But I appreciate the start time being taken because
Okay, so it should say bonfire shall only be allowed until 10 or until 11 p.m.
Oh, midnight.
Midnight, was my suggestion.
I said midnight sounded good last meeting, but it was taken down to 10.
I mean, my thing, where I was going with the 10 o'clock was the aligning it with all the other things at any 10. Lights at the park are 10. When is noise ordinance starting to be one of those things that, I'm saying, isn't there a time on that when they start? That's
Well,
that's
noise
where I was
ordinance
going
could be
with
a separate thing. You could have a bonfire without being noisy.
it. Yeah, I'm
You
listen.
know.
If you want to have 11 o'clock, if you want to have 12 o'clock, help yourself with that. My only thing with that is I don't want there to be by October when we're all out bonfiring in our yards, everybody coming in here and complaining, oh my gosh, people are out till midnight that's my only thing. You know what I'm saying? So if you want it to be midnight, I have no problems with that. I was just aligning the 10 o'clock with when all the other things start to shut down.
Are there people complaining right now that they're
So-
bonfires at midnight? I don't think so.
Hold on, if you don't mind. So I think this was placed in at our last meeting because there was public comment about nuisance burning and how do we address and identify nuisance burning. If you put a time in there without a start time, the end time really is irrelevant because you can pick up burning again right after the time ends because you don't have a start time. I could have a 1 a.m. fire.
You want to take sunset? Because that varies according to the time of year.
I'm just saying, I think if you're going to strike the opening time, the end time doesn't matter.
Opening time might relate to general weather conditions, and there might be someone who is attuned to and knowledgeable about managing these things. They might say, well, hey, it is typical that the wind is going to change or it's going to die down, or it's going to shift in direction around this time during the day. But you guys won't ban anything that I do anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm just going to point out that it might be a little bit more complicated than this Q4 discussion.
Thank you. We appreciate that. But the thing is that can we strike this entirely? Can we strike this number 4 entirely? Because if we're gonna not have a start time, the end time doesn't matter.
It's up to the group. That would the group wants.
No.
I'm fine with that.
And if we have a lot of nuisance taking place and people coming in here, then we just take it up at that time.
Yes.
Yep. Is everybody okay with that? Yeah. Striking 4 in section 1622. All right. Number 5, which will become our new number 4, no hazardous conditions, air pollution, or nuisance will be created. I think it's a nice thing to just put it in there, but I think that nuisance is very vague. Section 1623, prohibited burning. The burning of yard waste, yard debris, land clearing debris generated from, doesn't really matter how it's generated in my opinion, but generated from the maintenance or cleaning of property, household trash, hazardous materials, treated wood, plastics, or rubber, I guess might be worth it, is prohibited. Everybody okay with that one? All open burning. Moving on to page 4, permits are automatic.
Are we taking out from 1624, prohibited burning, land clearing?
I don't think so, because,
So we're not taking out generated from the maintenance or cleaning of property?
I mean,
We took that out of the definition.
yes, but then household trash, hazardous materials, treated wood, plastics, and rubber were not in the definition.
Just
Is
check.
that okay, though? I mean,
Just check.
all right. All open burning permits are automatically suspended whenever Worcester County or the state of Maryland declares a burn ban. We're going to need to come back to that.
Kevin, that's-
Or town of Berlin. Should we decide to do a burn ban?
Well, and I think that this is going to require us to revisit that in just a second anyway because of permitting that Gaskell referenced. All right. So then, 1624, enforcement and penalties. On any person who shall violate any provision of this article shall be guilty of a municipal infraction and shall be subject to a fine in the amount of $100 for any single or initial infraction and a fine in the amount of $200 for each repeat or continuing violation. Okay. We don't have anything outside of referencing permitting. So we need to, hold on one second. Here we go. Just cross down fire where any material is burned in the open. Okay. Let's see. So is our first location where we reference a permit in the amended ordinance? The first time we reference that is on our page 3, section 1621, right? And Gaskell, your recommendation is that we get rid of permanent, this whole section, because we don't have a permit. Is that correct?
What page you're on?
Page 3, section 1621.
I think the discussion was that in the way the code currently reads, you only need to obtain a permit if you're doing an open burn. So if you are eliminating open burning, you're eliminating the reason for a permit. So then that language just doesn't have any place in the code.
Okay, so then my question is why don't we change 1621's heading? Instead of it saying permit exceptions, why don't we make that say authorized burning? And it says recreational fires as well as outdoor cooking fires using grills, smokers, barbecue pits, or similar devices solely for food preparation. Recreational fires as well as, okay, for food preparation are authorized
following with the following
within
requirements,
this.
with the following requirements, which is the next section.
Oh, 16. Yeah, there you are. I like that. Are authorized. Repeat that, Jack. With the following requirement?
Authorized with the following requirement.
Requirement.
Let's not move on. I'm not going to break this.
You're good. Goodbye. So striking that.
Are authorized from what?
So hold on. Let me restate it. So section 1621, we're going to remove the heading permit exceptions, and it's going to be retitled authorized burning.
Got that.
It will read below that recreational fires as well as outdoor cooking fires using grills, smokers, barbecue pits, or similar devices solely for food preparation are authorized with the following requirements. And then it'll go into 1622.
Really?
And here's what, okay, we're gonna change the heading to section 1621 to authorize burning. It shall say recreational fires as well as outdoor cooking fires using grill, smokers, barbecue pits, or similar devices solely for food preparation are authorized with the following requirements of section 16-22.
I like
it. Hold on.
Yep. Do we have consensus on that?
Yep.
Okay. And go ahead.
Well, with that, now 16-22 should probably be titled requirements for recreational and cooking fires.
Requirements for recreational
and cooking.
striking burning.
Striking burn.
So requirements for recreational
And cooking.
and cooking fires.
Well, that's what
Simplify it, just say authorized burning. Requirements for authorized.
Okay,
or, yeah.
I like that. Simplified.
Wait, I didn't hear it.
Okay, so section 1622 is going to be retitled Requirements for Authorized Burning. All right, so then prohibited burning stays the same. Can we go back to open burning? Because, hold on, 1 second.
My council member told me that there would be a discussion.
We're going to have a public hearing in a moment.
But no, you're actually negotiating the full text before there's a discussion.
No,
That this is not the procedure, at least that my council member indicated to me that we would have.
okay.
So I'm a bit curious about, because you're saying that you are going to have public discussion, but you actually want to finalize the code before there's a public discussion.
We're
So
fine.
that's really kind of a fake promise, isn't it, of public participation?
Thank you, Mr. Hammond. We'll address that in a moment. Open burning means a fire. So back to page 2. Open fire means a fire where any material is burned in the open or in an open receptacle. To the point of it being vague, I think we got to try and find a way to put open burning and include some of the stuff that is in 1623. Do any of you have any thoughts on how we can best do that?
You want to add a definition to cover fire pits.
Or maybe also prohibited materials from burning. No?
I feel like saying in an open receptacle.
It's very vague.
Yeah.
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 So then instead of having open burning, can we come up with a better word choice and strike open burning from, what about prohibited materials or something like that? Because you have in here, I'm not saying anybody in particular, we, the town of Berlin, have in here household trash, hazardous materials, treated wood, plastics, and rubber. I mean, those are all things that I think we gotta, go ahead.
Open burning means a fire where any material. I was getting ready to say
It's okay.
it would reference section 1623. Open burning means a fire where every material is burned in the open or in an open receptacle, which is prohibited by section 16-23.
Hold on. Is there a way to put in here unauthorized burning? And that would include, we can make it so it includes open burning as well as the items listed in prohibited burning. So unauthorized burning would include open burning as well as yard waste, yard debris, land clearing debris.
That's what open burning is. Why don't you just address it in 1623 by saying in the last line, hazardous materials, treated wood, plastic, or rubber is defined as open burning and prohibited.
Okay. I see what you're saying. So 1623, the burning of yard waste, yard debris, land clearing debris generated from the maintenance or clearing of property, household trash, hazardous materials, treated wood, plastic, or rubber is prohibited.
No, is defined as open burning and is prohibited.
As open, even if it's closed burn. It's still, these materials would just be classified as open burn.
I mean, open
Even if
burning
it's
is a
closed.
well-known phrase.
I'm just saying that, I mean, like if I took my hazardous, I'm not saying I do this, but if I took my hazardous material or my, like, say somebody's got plastic Tupperware and they don't want to take it to the landfill or put it in the trash can for some reason, they want to burn it, but they do it in a closed receptacle, it's still not going to be healthy for the public. But it would also be closed. It wouldn't be open.
That would be a separate.
Why don't we say unauthorized burning includes open burning as well as debris, the burning of yard waste, yard debris, land clearing debris, the maintenance of cleaning of property, household trash, hazardous materials, treated wood, plastic, and rubber.
So are we putting that in the definition?
I think that it wouldn't hurt. It also clarifies things. So my recommendation, and we can see how it jives, right, is to strike the definition for open burning and make that unauthorized burning includes open burning and or and then pick up here the burning of yard waste, yard debris, land clearing debris generated from the maintenance of cleaning property, household trash, hazardous materials, treated wood, plastics, or rubber. And we're removing the definition of open burning.
And make a modest suggestion, even for your own purposes, so that you have a town code that actually makes sense at the end of this, that you take your council's advice to allow someone to calmly and coolly try to go through this instead of rushing it through this all bit and a few other people, just for your own sake, so you have a town code that makes sense at the end.
Thank you, but our mission is not to aggravate anyone. It's to respect everybody's time that has come here to provide testimony for the public hearing process and hopefully have something that the public can actually comment on. So, Gaskell, then we got to go back to. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're going to strike the definition of open burning.
Correct. And it would then say unauthorized burning.
Let me tell you what I've written.
Go ahead.
It's a definition. Unauthorized burning includes open burning and all burning described in section 16-23 entitled prohibited burning.
I like that. Everybody agree? Okay. Simplified it.
And it's been for 16. How about the last sentence in 1623 prohibited burning, which speaks about permanent open burning permits being suspended? Do we need that in there?
No, but I think that one of the requirements, we should add a new number 5 that makes it adhere to any Worcester County or state of Maryland.
I don't understand what you're saying, new number 5.
So right here, 1622 requirement. So we have number 1 must be 15 feet away, must be attended to completely until completely extinguished. Bonfire is no larger than. We struck number 4,
Right.
and the new number 4 or our whatever, however we want to do this, and then no hazardous conditions, air pollution, or nuisance will be created. Maybe we expand number 5, or we create a new number 5 that says that requirements for authorized burning must not take place during Worcester County or state of Maryland declared burn ban.
Why do you need that?
Well, because you're not. It's the requirements for authorized burning. You don't want to authorize burnings without clearly noting that the burn bans of Worcester County and the state of Maryland apply.
Well, why don't we just, instead of creating a new number 5, just amend that last sentence
Expand it.
to 1623? Because it already says all.
In 1619, you already refer to nothing in this ordinance shall supersede any burn ban. You've really already said it.
Yeah. Correct.
But I think Gaskell was heading to take out like all open burning. Go ahead. What was your idea there?
No, I was going to, my initial idea was, do we need the all open burning permits in that last sentence, since we've already said.
No, I thought you were going where it says prohibited burning to amend that sentence.
Yeah,
Just try and keep.
I was going to take it out.
Okay, but I think we should still have something in there that says automatically suspended whenever Worcester County or the state of Maryland declares a burn ban.
We can do that
Where?
in 1905.
The very first things, first section, last sentence.
Nothing within this ordinance shall authorize burning this by ...
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
So we can take out that last.
Strike the last one. Yep. I like that. Thanks, Jack. Okay. And then the enforcement and penalties stay the same, right? Except, yep. All right, so let's see if there's, give this thing one more glance and see if you see open burning somewhere. Well, back in purpose. The purpose of the article is to protect the public's health, safety, and welfare by regulating, it should just say burning within the town of Berlin instead of open and recreational, right?
Good, sure.
Can we strike open, everybody? In section 1619. We're going to strike open and we're going to strike our,
I would say outdoor burning.
And we were going to add recreational burn.
well, if we just call it outdoor burning,
Well, because I'm saying you're not trying to regulate somebody's fireplace or burn.
then we're going to define outdoor burning. Let's keep open burning. Hold on. Let's see.
Yeah, because we said by regulating open burning and recreational burning within the town.
All right, I'm going to read it from the top because we've talked about a lot, and I want the public to be clear on what we're going through here. So Article 2, that should perhaps be, should we
Burning.
keep, should it just say burning?
I feel like it needs to
Say
say
outdoor burning? Okay,
Every version for even recreational is all done outside.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Article 2, outdoor burning, Section 1619, purpose and intent. The purpose of this article is to protect the public health, safety, and welfare by regulating open burning and recreational burning within the town of Berlin. Improper burning can create fire hazards, air pollution, and public nuisances. This article is intended to ensure compliance with applicable state laws and regulations, including COMAR 1611-07. Nothing within this ordinance shall authorize burning that is prohibited by the Worcester County Code of Public Laws, COMAR, Maryland Forest Service Regulations, the State of Maryland Fire Prevention Code, or any county or state burn ban. Then moving on. Definition. The following words, terms, and phrases, when used in this chapter, shall have the meanings ascribed to them in this section, except where the context clearly indicates a different meaning. We are removing outdoor burning there, and we are, thank you, open burning. I appreciate it. And adding authorized burning, unauthorized burning. Thank you. Gaskell, can you read what you have?
Unauthorized burning includes open burning and all burning described in section 16-23 entitled prohibited burning.
Thank you. Recreational fire means a small controlled fire, either gas or wood burning, used for warmth or recreation, not intended for waste disposal. Cooking fire means a fire used solely for food preparation in grills, smokers, or similar appliances. Yard waste means leaves, grass clippings, weeds, and similar vegetative material. Yard debris means brush, limbs, branches, shrubs, and tree trimming. Land clearing debris means trees, stumps, brush, and other natural vegetative material.
one more appointment
Go ahead.
definitions.
No, it's fine.
This is just to me, but can they be alphabetized for these?
Yeah, sure. That's fine. Alphabetically. Who's running point on that? Gaskell?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Up next, 1621 has been retitled from permit exceptions to authorized burning. And it reads, recreational fires as well as outdoor cooking fires using grills, smokers, barbecue pits, or similar devices solely for food preparation are authorized. Gaskell, you pick it up from there. Is yours?
With the following requirements of section 16-22.
Thank you. Section 1622, requirements for authorized burning. That's been retitled. So it is requirements for authorized burning. Item 1, must be a minimum of 15 feet away from any building, structure, or flammable materials. Number 2, must be attended to until completely extinguished. Number 3, bonfires may be no larger than 3 feet high and 4 feet in diameter. We have struck item 4, and the new item 4 would be no hazardous conditions, air pollution, or nuisance will be created. Section 1623, prohibited burning. The burning of yard waste, yard debris, land clearing debris generated from the maintenance or cleaning of property, household trash, hazardous materials, treated wood, plastic, or rubber is prohibited. That ends that section. 1624, enforcement and penalties. Any person who shall violate any provision of this article shall be guilty of a municipal infraction and shall be subject to a fine in the amount of $100 for any single or initial infraction, and a fine in the amount of $200 for each repeat or continuing violation. Have I missed anything?
Yeah, I have a question. It's back on 1623, prohibited burning.
Okay.
It reads, the burning of yard waste, yard debris, land clearing debris generated from maintenance or cleaning of property, household trash, hazardous materials, treated wood, plastics, or rubber is prohibited. That's it.
I think so.
Okay.
All right. Now, any other comments before we open up the public hearing? Okay, seeing none, we're going to open the public hearing on ordinance 2026-06, amending chapter 16 entitled Fire Prevention and Protection, article 2 entitled Outdoor Burning as discussed a moment ago. Now, anyone that would like to address the mayor and council may do so at this time regarding ordinance 2026-06.
Well, what is
Just
sort of
name and street name if you don't mind and come forward.
my name is Ed Hammond, and you know where I live,
Thank you.
and you know what my name is. Make a nice shirt.
What's that?
Nice shirt.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean, what you're doing here is what you can do, but this creates a very significant hardship for me. How much money and time did the town spend running the chipper all around town after the storm, doing that? And you all have access to $50,000 chippers and manpower and, you know, the ability to do that. But my understanding is that the cleanup after the storm this spring for the town was a rather substantial burden. I may be in a relatively unique situation in town where I have an agricultural property that's been in agricultural production since before the town of Berlin existed. I have a forestry management plan. I have 30 acres and it generates a lot of debris and I need to get rid of it. I have a chipper. I can't afford a $50,000 veneer chipper and a truck to drag it all around. I've worn out 2 chippers. I'm on my 3rd chipper. It's an $8,000 piece of equipment. It's not, this is an expensive and difficult thing to do. And the ordinance, as you have just done it, I understood from my council member that we were actually going to have a discussion of what should be in the ordinance, but apparently that's not the case. It's going to create, imagine the level problem that the town had after the storm this spring. Now, my level problem is not quite that big, but it's pretty damn big. And the ordinance as you are proposing it now creates a really serious hardship for me in terms of being able to maintain the property. You might say, well, why don't you just, push that stuff back into the woods or something? Maybe 40 or 50 years ago, before we had the invasive species problems that we have now, it was easier sometimes to just push material back into the woods and forget about it. I can still cut up and let material lie on the forest floor if it's in a well-shaded area, but most areas are not shaded. One of the reasons why I don't have a lot of shaded areas is the town's mowing. But so I can't just push the material back in the woods and hope that it goes away, because you know what happens? It becomes a scaffold for invasive species to grow on, and it becomes a large problem on the land because the wood doesn't break down fast enough before the wisteria, the porcelain berry, the whatever it is gets on it and starts going. So, yeah. Listen, as I said at the last meeting, you know, my family has periodically needed to have a fire behind my place for as long as anyone can remember. We've always done it, and there's never been an issue of the fire not being controlled. I do my best to avoid burning things. It's not like I want to do it, right? You know, I do my best to avoid burning things, but the amount of material that is generated is just too much to be able to deal with. You know, if there's no provision in this ordinance that allows me to do something to control this stuff, you know, yeah, it's a substantial burden for me, and it's also potentially substantially not good for the quality of the environment. Going not just where I am, like for example, if I do a decent job controlling invasive species by being able in part to do this stuff and to burn this stuff, it doesn't go downstream and start growing, you know, further down. So, you know, y'all can do what you want, but you know, we've been there for a while. I've been able to manage my land, and my family has managed my land without problems, including about one burn a year for longer than the town has been here. And if you want to take that away from me and create a burden on me as a town landowner, there's nothing that I can do about that. But I really think that it's a pretty lousy thing to do. But, you know, if you want to do that, do that. But, you know, I really think that there should be a provision. There are not very many people in town that are in sort of my place, you know, and I understand that. And that's a reality to be recognized. You know, folks don't generally have the types of properties that I have, which I didn't ask for it. It just, there it was, right? Let me do what I need to do in order to maintain my property. We've done it safely. We've done it for a very, very long time. And create some sort of provision in this fire ordinance to allow that. That's my request to you.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else that would like to address the mayor and council regarding ordinance 2026-06? Make them so at this time.
I don't. I just
Just
want
name
to
and street name.
Beverly, right, Upshur Lane.
Thank you.
I just was curious about how often he burns. He said, I thought last time he said something like 30 times. And so that concerned me. So I know you're probably going to think this is crazy, but there probably ought to be some provision that allows him to apply for some kind of permit within some kind of parameters. Because he does have a huge property, and it might be unique. And I'm not saying that everything he's doing is correct, but no one's died yet, and he seems to be following a lot of rules. So I think there might be room for something to accommodate whatever he's doing If it's limited to once or twice a year, what about notice given to neighbors that there's going to be open burning? So we're prepared for it. And we don't think that the whole town is burning down if we smell. I'm just offering that as an option.
Anyone else?
Typically, I would burn one time a year. The comment about 30 times is if I had to burn the same amount of material and was restricted to
Oh, I
2x2 fire.
Name and street.
Dawn Sure, 305 North Main. And thanks for public comment. Nice we got to it eventually. So I was coming originally to say, hey, 6 to 10, that's crazy. But thank you very much. That one's already gone, so I'm going to trust that it'll stay gone. I think my first thing is probably going to need to start over with a new first reading and all, right? It's different enough. But I would suggest it because it's different enough that there might be other people in town that would want to have different comments. But that's my opinion. Also, I think in that same vein, I would suggest that the council look again at section 1622, requirements for authorized burning, because previously in 1621, we've said that recreational fires as well as outdoor cooking fires will follow those same requirements, which now means that if you have a grill, it needs to be 15 feet away from any building, structure, or flammable material. So I don't know if anybody has a fence, if they put their grill closer than 15 feet, or if at the back of their house they roll out their little charcoal grill and it's 10 feet. Has anybody measured the Atlantic Hotel to see if they're 15 feet from their fire pit? This also applies to gas, right? Yeah. So their fire pit possibly is closer than 15 feet. So maybe we need to measure that. I like the Atlantic Hotel to sit around. See that I don't know that we want it to apply to cooking fires, cooking fires. And then also that, I guess what Beverly was saying, I don't know the two properties that previously were able to get the permits to do controlled burning or something that was in the notes from last time. Are they agricultural?
It's just one.
Mr. Hammond, yours is agricultural. So I think a real easy way is to look at permitting, that there would be a permit that if you have a property that's large enough to be considered agricultural, you have a way to apply for a permit. Once a year, 4 times a year, I don't know, include post storm or something. And my only other thought was, as we were all talking or listening, and then I kind of changed my mind, but just to share, if there's no way for permitting, it might make it harder if we ever have something in the future, like, God forbid, a post real hurricane clearance, something that is like an emergency situation. If there's no way to get it, then it could slow down the process of recovery if the council has to go and make a temporary emergency situation for what's allowed. So.
Anyone else that would like to comment regarding ordinance 2026-06?
It's a message here for someone.
Can we take that during council comments instead of public comment?
Well, it's for this ordinance. So,
No. I meant like once we close the public hearing, take comments and consideration from our group. I think that
is a public. It is a public resident.
Okay.
I'm gonna
I
go.
want to hear.
No, I just think that like
You
the
don't
message.
advertise it as being open to comments.
Yeah, that's why I think it's probably better they've reached out to you in your comment following the public things. All right. Anyone else that would like to address the mayor and council regarding ordinance 2026-06? Okay, we're closing the public hearing. Now we'll open it up for council discussion and comment.
Well, I was real quick on that, Don. 15 feet. I hear you on that because I know I grill out close to my house. Where did that come from? Language in a existing ordinance or county?
So I think Ryan may be better able to address that.
On recreational fires for the county, that did not include cook's fire. We just proved that in just right now.
So did it say that?
I mean, personally, if you have a gas grill,
On their deck.
if you have a gas grill or a cooking grill or something like that, yes, it works most of the time, but it doesn't work all the time. And having a recommendation of 15 feet, I don't think it hurts. I mean, that grill catches on fire. I mean, to your point too, you said the gas fires that sometimes I've watched people do it on their porches. It doesn't mean that it's a good idea. But I mean, I don't think anybody from planning and zoning or the police department is going to come out there with your cooking grill and say 14 feet, $100 fine. But that's just my 2 cents.
If your house burns down,
I've seen a couple of those.
I'm not saying it's the right thing.
about
But once it's written, you could get a fine.
could,
If
if
they look
someone's
at the
telling
lane and the police come out and then says you get a fine.
you have a lot of reporting neighbors.
Right. I mean, we're still in dialogue phase, but I'm just saying.
So my feeling about all this is, if we come back to Mr. Gaskell's initial, we have changed a substantive amount of this. I don't know how, I'm just a little bit concerned that your notes are jiving exactly what we've outlined up here. No offense, I think I do think there's merit to, I guess it is restarting the process of having the revised ordinance come back as first reading. I really don't think we'll work out. It's a little bit of time and a little bit of money for the legal ads, personally.
That's not a.
Yeah, that's not.
I do kind of feel like it's probably a fairness issue. I mean, just because we dissected this thing a lot. So that's just my comment on that, but I think you have something to comment.
Well, I mean, yeah, I have this comment and I have my comments, but I'll read this one first. So I know everybody, I'll try to be so everybody can hear me. Mayor Tyndall, members of the council, I support tightening this ordinance. Yard waste and household trash burning in a town this dense doesn't belong in the code anymore, and I don't think anyone in town disagrees with that. But section 16-24 as drafted doesn't tighten the rule, it erases it. It treats a resident with a 2-foot brush pile the same as a property owner sitting on acres of wooded land who loses trees every storm season. Those aren't the same problem and they shouldn't get the same answer. I'm not here asking you to keep the old system. I'm here asking for a middle path between the old system and offering a blanket no. In the last meeting, Ryan informed the mayor and council that only 2 open burning permits have been processed recently, and both were on unusually large parcels. One is actually my neighbor who lost some serious limbs during our most recent blizzard. That's not evidence the exception is being abused. That's evidence it's already self-limiting. The people using the exception are exactly those we should permit. A blanket ban punishes them to solve a problem they aren't actually causing. With that in mind, I propose a special land clearing and storm debris permit available only to parcels above a defined acreage threshold, say 2 acres, so a standard in-town lot can't claim it. Every permit will require site approval from the fire marshal or Berlin Fire Department before issuance, not just a paper application. Where the county's 500-yard setback cannot physically be met, the applicant signs a site plan and the fire department signs off on an alternative, safer configuration similar to how Ed Hammond's aerial imagery submissions already have been reviewed and approved. Cap it at 4 permits per property annually so it functions as relief for genuine storm debris, not a loophole for routine burning. Councilmember Nichols raised the idea of a fire department partnership for these situations. That's the mechanism right there. Let the fire department's presence be the safety valve that makes this workable instead of the reason to shut it down entirely. This middle path isn't a request to keep the old system, and it isn't a request to eliminate the exception outright. It's a request to replace it with something that actually distinguishes between the guy burning leaves in his backyard and the property owner managing storm damage on 5 wooded acres. Right now, the ordinance can't tell those 2 people apart. I think it should. Thank you. This was emailed to the group after the fact that I found out, and it's from Tony on Bay Street.
So I have a couple questions for Ed. Ed, how many acres do you have?
A little over 30.
Okay. And I know you've been burning for several years now. I understand your situation, but the county regulations, and I kind of brought this up last time, but county regulations state that any open fire has to be within 1,200 feet of a structure. How is it that you can burn it? A structure or a road?
I've applied for the permit. I mean, again, I think that the last time I said, maybe you need to speak to the county fire marshal. I've always applied for permits. Permits go to the county fire marshal, and I include, as was mentioned, overhead imagery and indication of where it would be. And I remember our exchange the last time, having it where I do, just for example, I have access to multiple spigots and a lot of water if I were to need it. I could, at 1,200 feet, I can't do. I mean, I would go further away from a structure, but it would actually, I think I would argue that.
Yeah,
I don't deny the fact that would be wise.
They're doing it safely, I believe you are.
Yeah. I mean, I would say you're always going to be better off where you.
Right. But you're looking at it like we're trying to prohibit it, but really the county is already prohibited.
The county fire marshal, look, I mean, I've been and I've talked to the county fire marshal, and the county fire marshal does not have issues with, when I spoke with him, I don't want to put words in his mouth, does not have issues with fire or silent fire that I had. I mean, maybe it's, the thing is, I mean, I'm just be very like a literal read of the county fire code, which I did a few years ago, makes you eligible for 20 years in the supermax if you light a cigarette walking down the street. Right, the county fire code is clearly written to be as prohibitive as possible, and then it is obviously the case that then the county fire marshal exercises discretion with respect to what is permitted and not. Because if you took that literal reading of it, I mean, really, seriously, took that literal reading of it, I think lighting a cigarette on the street is a criminal offense. So I think that there, maybe, if you look, comparing the county fire code to what has existed and would potentially exist in the future in Berlin, it's a little bit of an apples and oranges situation because it's a totally different kind of land mass and sort of system under which the county operates. The county fire marshal does not have issues signing off on the fires.
So the other side of that is in the, I know, well, we gotta get up and dance. So, there's been reference to like 2 permits, but the other thing is, Brian, do you happen to know off the top of your head, or Fisher, I know that we have a couple, at least on the books, of folks doing this type of burning, like the outdoor burning, where people complained and have called and have had the police department come out and make contact. Not you, Mr. Hammond.
There was one actually. There was one, and the reason why was that the town did not notify the neighbors. I pulled the permit. Part of pulling the permit was that the neighbors were to be informed. And
Are you talking about your own property? I'm not talking about your property.
Okay.
I'm saying in general.
Well, in general, that has happened with respect to my property, and the reason why it happened was that the neighboring landowner had not been informed by the town and called the fire in.
I'm talking about instances where folks are burning and it has created a nuisance that has yielded itself, I think probably more to the police department than the planning, but it might have been reported after the fact. So there are more than just 2 instances of burning. There are instances of the police department responding to nuisance burning that this ordinance would address. So I want to make sure that when we say 2, there are more. That this does.
Those are unpermitted.
I'm not.
If they're unpermitted, then the police should go.
I'm saying open burn is what I'm saying. Open instances of open burn.
But maybe we could have a special provision for large landowners to have an open burn once, possibly twice a year.
And how my thing on that will be how you define large landowners.
By a certain amount of acreage.
I mean, I wrote an email including to the town attorney, and I said that you can do it by size, and I don't think that that's somehow discriminatory or something. I mean, it's a simple recognition of biological reality that, larger properties. There's that. I have a forest management plan. It's drafted by the state forester. My land is agriculture in the view of the state of Maryland. Those are some criteria that can be used. The other thing that I pointed out to the town attorney is that the county has a freedom to farm law, and the freedom to farm law is intended specifically to protect traditional agricultural practices, of which an annual burn is most definitely one in the county, and it's intended to prevent the problems that happen when people don't know what a chicken house is, get too close to the chicken house, and that sort of thing. But this is another example. So if you want to talk about carrying through the spirit of county law into the town code, well, what about the county's freedom to farm, right? I mean, I would be, if you gave me one time a year, that's all I need, right? If we're going to continue under the system of the present size, but I mean,
There should be a restriction in size, though. Because I hear your claim about having multiple garden hoses, but a 5/8 line is, and a 1/2 inch line is probably what you have. Fed by,
called by
I'm just saying, like the volume
this and done that and shown my.
but the volume of fire that you discussed with your method of handling it, if it were to get out of control, there has to be some structure around the size and the way that something like that would burn.
My ask has always been, I'll do it the way that you say that I should do it. Just give me a viable opportunity. So I would, you say you want to put it inside a firebox of some sort. I can do that. I might need more than one a year if it's restricted like that, but I can do that. I mean, I'm not saying you have to agree to what I do. And even the practice that I have now is a result of the former rules, right? Because I wanted to use a containment area, but I was told that, that wasn't practical because I would have to pull a permit.
Why don't we do this? Why don't you put your ideas on paper, send them to the town attorney? We'll take a look at them to see how we can, why are you laughing?
Because I did that, and the result was that you just walked through and completely did the ordinance.
Well, you have to realize, and you make comments that this is designed and aimed at you. It's not. This is an ordinance of the town of Berlin, 5,000 something residents.
I didn't say it was designed.
Okay,
I did say you probably enjoy this, but that's a different subject.
A lot of things I enjoy. I don't know if this is one thing. You provide and make sure he has your best step forward at what you think you would need to be able to accommodate your forested land, and we will review that with the reintroduction of the ordinance and see if there's a way that we can marry the two together.
Fair enough.
First reading will include the amendment. Hold on a second. First reading would include the amendment as drafted by the council, and it can include a summary of Mr. Hammond's thoughts about what could be addressed related to a larger parcel or something like that.
We still want to make that motion.
So I was going to, but actually,
Go ahead.
You have
I mean, that's what I thought about this.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we table this until the town attorney can advise us on the amendments that the edits that we made tonight, and input from folks like Mr. Hammond, and ways we can deal with the unique circumstances of certain properties in town.
Can I help with that?
Sure.
So tabling the amended motion, the amended ordinance 2026-06 to be brought back at our next meeting with the amendments in print form, along with a recommendation on if we were to incorporate burning for larger parcels, what that would look like.
Yeah, because I do agree
If, we're not promising that it's gonna be
I
adopted.
do agree with Steve that we've made some substantive changes, so I think this could, I think that could qualify as a first reading, because the public hearing comes the second time.
So
So,
I think, I don't disagree with Mr. Morris. I think I'll make the suggested changes, and I think that once I get it to you, you should have a first reading on that. Like,
But you're not incorporating,
Process over that, correctly.
but you're not incorporating a plan for large property owners. You're gonna take what we have correct,
decided.
with an option that if it were to be adopted, that it could be inserted into the ordinance.
well, yeah, because that would be no different than what this would do today, had we made any changes aside from, like, if this were to go through and we just said, oh, we're gonna change the time. That's the same process.
So you want me to restate the motion, or do you want to restate?
You,
Okay, so Councilmember Orris has made a motion to table ordinance 2026-06, restart the process at our next meeting with first reading with the amended version of the ordinance in the packet, as well as a plan for, if the council were to adopt a pathway for larger property owners. Do we have a second? I have a second by Councilmember Nur. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, let the record reflect the votes unanimous to table ordinance 2026-06. Restart the public process with first reading at our next meeting. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Can we hold those until public comment? I think that would be, I know, but I think it would be great.
I'm unclear on what,
hold on.
while it's in your head, I'm unclear on what you actually want from me. You want justification for the exemption? Do you want what the physical requirements are?
We don't want a book. We want, like, if we were to take your,
Don't worry, I'm not sending you a book. I want you to tell me though what it is.
so if we were to plug and chug, like if you were to take the ordinance that we have here and you look at section 1619, purpose and intent, don't exceed that amount. But we would like your thoughts on if you have a large parcel that I'd be allowed to burn once a year.
Code language.
Yeah, in essence, make it easy and digest. And
Define, decide.
All right, well, can I get a copy of what it actually looks like before I write?
And I have one suggestion. I don't read my emails on the weekend. People will send me emails on the weekend.
All right, yeah, all right.
just, our next meeting isn't until September 14th. So if you put your best effort on it sometime before the first week of September, he should have time to be able to look at it, and we should have time to be able to put it on the agenda.
I think you're
I
on.
wonder if there'd be so, all right.
I think that what you read from that person is what I was trying to say too. And I think that should be somehow send that text, it should be thrown into the mix to be considered as part of a new section. Considered. I thought it's very well thought out.
Thank you. All right. Everybody good? Okay. Let's move on. So items for approval. Item 4. Before each one of these are action, there is an opportunity for public comment. Motion 4A, motion 2026-48, funding for lead service line project. And our finance director, Natalie Slay, is going to run one.
Good evening. I'm gonna, just for a short summary, we all know that we have a Berlin lead replacement project started a while ago. It requires a long process of inventory servicing and eventually a replacement. With that said, obviously the cost associated with those projects and the phases being estimated in the past, but as we moved along, the costs not matching to what was previously estimated. We've gone back to Maryland Department of Environment and have asked them to revise available funding. The funding they offer to us in the form of loans and / loans with forgiveness of the principal after several years of paying them out. So if you want to check in.
Go ahead, Nick. Come to the table if you
Projects
don't mind.
in general or something.
The only other thing is,
numbers.
I'll add to what Natalie said, just for clarification. excuse me, this is not a project that Berlin just undertook. This is mandated for every community to.
Thank you. Go ahead, Nick.
Certainly. So back in 2023, this project began. The state acquired it, and town took at it full force. At that time, we submitted an application for funding of roughly $1 million. That was slotted for all of William Street, Broad Street, and Bay Street. Unfortunately, as we continued moving forward, the state kind of ironed out the regulations, and the requirements for the project became a lot more than what was originally anticipated. At that point in time, for 2024, we submitted for additional funding and the amount of about another $500,000, and did receive that. We then finished the project for design, permitting, and then took it all the way out to bidding, and received only one bid at the time, which exceeded the amount of funds we had to bid. At that point in time, we went back to the state, requested additional funds, and that is why we're here today.
Because the state has granted those additional funds.
Yes, sir.
And in order to accept those funds, it takes council action.
Yep.
So today, in front of you, a summary that I put together with what is offered to us in funding. It's $2,286,773. The total cost as of today is a little bit more by $79, but she'll work on contribute that. The combination of those funds, as I mentioned, there are loans, but half of it is loans. They don't have details as of yet how that's going to be structured. What the interest rates is going to be, it's going to be all determined after you will approve or go forward with settlements, and then the interest rate will be set. Most likely will be 30 loans and then on the life.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions for Natalie or Nick?
I just, well, first I wanted to say, Natalie, thank you for the staff report. This was very helpful in breaking all these large numbers down for someone like me, so thank you. But just for some clarity questions, please, for Nick. Phase 1A and phase 1B, right? So phase 1B is Bay and Broad. And
That's correct.
1A is William. Correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then from Natalie's thing, she said it, but I just want for everyone out there, the total 2.286, what we will definitely be required to pay back is the 44%, and then the rest is what's forgiven.
It's
Correct.
not fully forgiven. It's going to be forgiven after several years of payment of the interest. So there will be costs associated with securing that portion of the loan. Also settlement, but the $1,007,823 will be town's responsibility to carry on the waterfront.
Thank you. Any other comments? If not, we're going to open it up to the public. Anyone from the public that would like to address the mayor and council regarding motion 2026-48? Seeing none, we'll take action by the council.
Motion to approve.
A motion by Councilmember Green. Second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, let the record reflect that motion 2026-48 passes unanimously with Vice President Burrell absent. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Natalie. Up next is agenda item 5, and that's Town Administrator's Report and Departmental Report.
Couple of date announcements. Sorry, I've lost my place. Monday, August 31st at 5 p.m. will be a planning commission work session regarding the comprehensive plan update. It is open to the public. It is a work session of the planning commission. No, not mayor and council. And no, I don't have it on here. Monday, September 7th is Labor Day, and town offices will be closed.
Thank you.
I do also have one small thing. While it is certainly no longer news, I do want to take this opportunity to publicly announce my retirement after 35 years of service to the town. It has been both a pleasure and a privilege to serve this community, and making the decision to retire has been a difficult one. My last official day of work will be October 9th. I am proud of what I've accomplished during my time with the town, and perhaps even more so of the role I have played in building a strong foundation for Berlin's future. Over the years, I have not always seen eye to eye with every elected official I've worked with, nor every citizen, but I have always approached each issue with the same goal in mind, ensuring that Berlin continues to grow and thrive while keeping the best interests of its citizens, businesses, and visitors at the forefront. Sustainable policies and practices and resiliency for the future have always been foremost in the recommendations I have made and the actions that I have taken. My retirement is certainly bittersweet, but I know that it is the right decision for me at this point. I leave with a tremendous appreciation for the opportunity I have been given to serve this town, and with nothing but the very best wishes for Berlin and its future. Most of all, I want to thank the dedicated professionals who work every day to make Berlin a safe, healthy, vibrant, and enjoyable place to live, work, and visit. It has been an honor to work alongside so many talented and committed people. Thank you for allowing me the privilege of serving the town for the past 35 years. I will always be proud to have been a part of this community and its story.
Mary, when you say that you're proud to be part of its story, I think you write a portion of that story yourself, starting as someone working in customer service and admin and working your way all the way up to the top paid profession in the town of Berlin. I remember when you and I sat down and we had a vacancy in the town administrator's position, and we were starting the search process. I said, Mary, you've got a lot of institutional knowledge. You've got a lot that you bring to the table. Have you ever considered it? And you were very modest. You're like, no, let's. I've served in that capacity. You've served in the acting capacity many times, and then you accepted my request to be able to serve in this capacity, and it's been an honor to work together. You're amazing at what you do. You have so much knowledge about the town of Berlin, and I've loved every minute of it. So thank you. All right. Anything from departmentals that are either in the packet or that any of you want to say? Okay. Seeing none. Any comments from the council? Okay.
Yeah.
Or questions?
Questions or?
Either way, I mean, we're going to go to council comments, but I'm just saying, like, for the departmental report side of it. I haven't forgotten you all, I know. All right, up next, agenda item 6, comments from the public. Anyone from the public that would like to address the mayor and council may do so at this time. Okay, seeing none. We'll move on to comments from the council. We'll start with Councilmember Nerd.
Mayor, I just want to say thank you for your many, many years of dedicated service. You put your heart and soul.
Councilmember Nichols.
Congratulations. A lot of Minnesota's life has been intertwined with this town. A lot of the family history from your own tied in this town. Congratulations to you and your family for being able to successfully execute and enjoy the rest of your life. Congratulations.
Thank you. Councilmember Orrs.
Mary, I also want to offer my congratulations and thank you for all of your service to the town of Berlin. I know I've only been working with you professionally in this capacity for a short time in your career, but I have truly enjoyed navigating your opportunity.
Councilmember Green.
35 years, I mean, your emotions say it all, I think. It means a lot to you. Obviously, it's meaningful, and I think your work has been meaningful for town Berlin. It's a lot to be proud of, for sure. When I was elected, actually when I decided to run, I came and saw you and filed and asked you what makes a good council person and what makes a not so good council person. And I took that to heart, and it was meaningful advice that I try to keep in mind throughout this journey. So, yeah, thank you for everything you've done for the town of Berlin. We still have some work to do, though, but wishing you all the best.
You're not done until October. Not that anybody's counting.
No.
Yes.
I'm gonna double dip real quick, just some questions. So I had brought up last month, just to see if there was any appetite on discussion of data centers in Berlin and any implications they may or may not have. I believe I can't remember if it was to the group or maybe it was just, Town Attorney Gaskell and administration, the county's, past moratorium. I don't want to keep beating this if there's no interest on the group. I personally think we should be proactive, but I'm just asking now if there's no interest in moving forward, I would drop it.
I mean, so yeah, in my opinion, I don't want a data center in town of Berlin. I guess I'm just trying to figure out how we would codify it, and if it's needed. I guess what your point is, you know, I'm sure if it's needed,
Right.
you want to be proactive than reactive if there's an application that comes through the claim.
Right. Well, I mean, just not to cut you off, but it's just a discussion point. I believe, I could be wrong, we were a little taken aback with the solar farm, and then there wasn't anything in the code to address it. So we kind of, navigated that and made it work. But this data centers is counties, I mean, Maryland, I can bring you the information I got from ESAM. These other municipalities are drafting these, they can only be a year moratorium. So I just think that, I think it's something we should talk about.
Are there any tracts of land within the town limits that are large enough to accommodate a data center?
Well, I mean, it depends. Well, from what I've learned, and I won't take up too much, but from what I've learned here, there's different types of data centers to what they do, and that can affect the size of what they are. Right. So the minimum, I guess, would be like 3,000 to 5,000 square feet, up to whatever.
Actually, a data center would be, hypothetically, you could probably call the little fiber shed that we have a data center. You know what I mean? You really could, because it houses similar types of equipment, but it's not what you see in the newspaper as a data center.
Right, and I'm not arguing that point, but I mean, there are parcels within town that are currently for sale that would, commercial, that would fit what a center would fit in.
What's the problem with the data center?
Well, there are many state requirements too that you can't just like pop one up as quickly as you can open a brick and mortar shop doing something else. There are a lot of.
Well, you might know. I believe you approached Ocean City about the paper names.
We've had 2 data centers that have wanted to come to Berlin. And how many are actually built? There's a reason for that, because they don't jive with who we are and what we are.
They don't jive with us
They
right
didn't-
now, but we won't always be sitting where we sit.
No. I'm saying they don't jive as in the way that they wanted to build it out, the requirements and all of those things. Berlin wasn't a fit.
So there's interest.
I mean, I felt that way too about
I will say
Microsoft, but
But they've never materialized.
And it's because they withdrew their proposals?
They've reached out and asked for guidance, and they didn't like the guidance.
They never got to the stage
Yeah.
of formal proposal.
I do think there's an appetite. I think there is.
I mean,
I mean,
could
all
it benefit the town in any way?
Well,
That-
infrastructure.
I don't know,
It
I
depends.
really don't understand the whole thing about data centers, just like I don't understand the opposition to the wind thing out there. So I don't really have a comment. I just think that what Jack is saying really does bear some exploration, but it needs a lot more explanation.
And
See what's the pros, what's the cons. Not what you read in the newspaper, not what you think you know or myth, but what do we think is actually happening? And I think that's a whole education process.
It's a lot of environmental impact from data centers. Being on the committee of GFY, it's a problem. Environmental issues. It's a problem nationwide when the data center comes, especially in a small community. It's a lot of disruption, a lot of heat generated, a lot of noise, a lot of
Noise?
yes. So to the point, I think we need to be not full force kind of strict, but something in writing absolutely because so many communities did not have it and it happened going after the fact. It's a lot of work.
I understand maybe there's some isolated properties where those negatives would be less impactful.
but I don't know if they're in the town of Berlin. It's hard, I don't even know where the town boundaries are really, so.
They also draw significantly on, public utility resources, electric and water.
But the
The
thing,
water is necessary to
So-
cool the process.
So maybe we don't have the kind of resources
So
that
they
these
be,
data centers.
and that's, as you just stated a second ago, not only do we need to have the conversations, but we also need to make sure that Berlin has a good understanding as to what these data center requirements are
Yeah.
and what that could do to our
And that's
infrastructure.
what I think.
The point of a moratorium gives you the opportunity to do that research and define things.
Is that a state moratorium or
So
a county?
the other side of that is too, is that like we haven't been idle, to Jack's point. The association groups that we're part of are doing some of this due diligence.
Oh.
The state is doing some of this as well. Councilmember Nur and I were just talking sidebar for a moment that the state has even passed that electric wise, you have to be able to be self-sufficient. Water wise, you have to not create an undue burden. So there are things that are working, but it's kind of like, cannabis and it's kind of like drones. You know what I mean? Like those are some things that have occurred recently where we keep an eye on them, but we didn't have a moratorium on cannabis, but there are just things that.
Moratorium is this?
So Jack's bringing forward, which isn't a bad thing, a discussion point of whether or not the town needs a moratorium on data centers.
Oh,
And-
needs a moratorium.
right.
I thought there was one in place.
So, no.
In other-
So,
In the
Right.
county and in other municipalities.
Oh, so Worcester County has a moratorium?
correct.
Okay,
But
well,
the
I don't know.
counties- The county's a little different from the municipality, but I'm just saying that like
I see.
we are monitoring these things, but it's not a bad idea to discuss them and
Well, what I'd like to do,
Take the lead, someone's gotta take the
yeah,
lead on it.
if I may,
Thank you, you brought it up.
Since I think there's at least one more week of which I can push this. One of our colleagues in ESAN has developed a nice written out thing on forming a committee and drafting the right verbiage and stuff like that. Why don't I also send that to the group? And I can circle back at our next meeting.
why don't we put it as an item for discussion
Okay,
at our next meeting?
that's great.
Is it possible to get somebody in here to really help explain what they're all about? Fine with data center board.
I
How
can,
will we do that?
I can actually reach out to ESAN and see what we can do.
Maybe you need a unique session, unique presentation.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think like no more than a 10-minute like presentation.
Yeah,
on
no,
it.
I will tell you that the September 14th agenda is
It's
shaped
gonna be pretty big.
very.
I will,
Can I sign you for the next one then?
yeah, the second one in, September would be better.
All right, thank you all.
You okay with that? All right, let's see, what else? Yeah,
That was it, that was my double dip, so.
all right, so then we'll move on to comments from the mayor, mayor's office. The one thing leading into our next discussion, we had talked about the auxiliary dwelling unit stuff. I think Kate sent that to everybody to put it on your radar. But the first meeting in September, the 14th, we will have a work session with the planning commission like we did before to discuss our ideas and a draft ordinance of auxiliary dwelling units. It's probably going to be a little bit like fire codes, where we are going to meet, discuss, there might be a markup, and then a first reading of that markup during the 14th meeting. We will try to get some consensus around what that would look like and then hold a public hearing on the second meeting in September so that we meet the deadline of October 1st for having something on the books. So this is an FYI, keep that on your calendar.
So the public comment for all those people out in the listening world, public comment is not going to be September 15th. Public comment will be September 20, whatever that is.
Yep.
So when they come on September 14th, you're here to listen, not to interject,
Well,
right?
That is-
Or-
well, so the public hearing will be on the 28th of September. The public, of course, can comment,
I'm
but
asking-
during public comment time.
Okay, I'm asking.
And the work session will not have public comment time.
The work session, say that one more time,
The work session of the Mayor and Council and the Planning Commission will not have public comment.
on the 14th, which is,
Right.
yeah, right.
Correct. And then on the 14th, we will have the introduction and first reading of the ordinance that was a topic of discussion and included in all the packets and everything for the work session. And then there will be the opportunity for comment always at the end of our meeting, for public comment on the 14th, where the public may address any item, including that item. And then a public hearing will be held on the 28th. related to it. All right, let's see. Up next, comments from the press. None? Okay, so we are now item 10, which is adjourning into closed session. So,
Oh, you want to read this?
I think that would be wise, yes. Give me 1 second.
Second.
Give me 1 second. Let me find my statement. Do I have a copy of that? If not, I can. I can do it from memory, but I like to have my little sheet just in case somebody gets silly. Okay, so we would like a motion to go into closed session, to adjourn into closed session. The statutory authority for the closed session would be under the general provisions, Article 3-305, Item B, 1, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, or any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. Before we take the motion to go into closed, to adjourn our regular meeting and go into closed session, does anybody in attendance have an objection to the mayor and council going into closed session? Seeing none, we have to ask. So if you go back to all of them, we always ask.
Make a note when we go back into public session.
Thank you, Mary. See, sure you want to return? We will return to the public meeting on Monday, September 14th at 6:00 p.m. So now we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
So I have a motion by Councilmember Orris, a second by Councilmember Nur. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, let the record reflect the vote unanimous with Vice President Burrell absent. Thank you all. We appreciate it.